What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Malcolm Tibbs. I spent 25 years getting inconsistent results in my love life, and now not only do I have a fulfilling relationship, I also have the ability to snap my fingers and have half a dozen dates lined up within a week. Now, I've been doing self-improvement for 8 years now, and in that time, I've read a ton of books, I've learned a lot of lessons, I've made a lot of mistakes, and we're going to be going over what are the best 3 things that you can do in order to get a girlfriend. Now, at the very bottom, number 3, right? This is going to be the least effective thing, but it's going to be making more money. All right. Making more money is going to give you access to a lot of different things, right? But making more money is not going to actually increase your chances of getting a girlfriend. Those things that you get access to, such as better grooming, better like living situation, better clothing, right? Maybe even going to the gym, having the money to go to the gym, right? All of those things are going to make it easier for you to get a girlfriend. But before we even go any deeper into the video, I want to point to the homeless man, right? There are homeless men all throughout every city in America, probably your country as well, but you can see them paired up with women, right? So the amount of money you make isn't necessarily a good way to acquire a girlfriend, because the homeless man has no problem getting a girlfriend for himself, and he's at the very bottom of society. He's not getting any money in. Maybe he's panhandling and begging for donations on the side of the road with this sign, but besides that, he's not making a whole lot of money, right? But yes, having money is going to help you get a girlfriend. It's going to give you the tools necessary to improve yourself in other areas that are going to make it easier for you to get that girlfriend. Now, the second thing, and honestly, I feel like this is where I spent most of my effort when I was younger, because I thought that this was the best way to get a girlfriend, but going to the gym, all right? Now, having bigger muscles is absolutely going to make you more attractive, and it's going to make things a lot easier when it comes to escalating and getting her invested, getting her interested. All of those things are going to be a lot easier when you look good. All right. Going to the gym, spending an hour, 2 hours in there pumping iron, going in there with your boys as well, having some extra motivation, that helps and it makes you attractive. But again, if you don't do the necessary things that are required to get a girlfriend, you're just going to turn into a gym cell. All right. You're going to turn into like an incel who just is like jacked and buff, and he's attractive, but he still doesn't know how to talk to girls. All right. And that's going to lead us to the final thing, the best way for you to get a girlfriend, right? Developing the skill of dating. And that's going to require you to go outside the house. It's going to require you to set up the online dating profile and maybe spend a day or two, hire a photographer, put on some nice clothes, get some really good pictures of yourself, right? It's going to require you to do a lot more volume. You're going to have to change some habits. You're going to have to start approaching women and talking to them, and falling on your face multiple times. That's just a part of the journey. But eventually you're going to learn how to go up to a girl and get her to laugh a little bit, get her phone number, how to actually text her after that and set up a date, right? And then how to go from a date to, hey, here's my condo, and, start up a romantic relationship, right? All of that is a series of skills. And if you just make the money and you just get the bigger muscles and you never learn how to date, well, then you're just going to be jacked and you're going to be rich and you're still going to be lonely, right? But if you learn how to date, you can be 5'1", bald, with no income. You can literally be homeless. But if you know how to talk to a girl, if you know how to be interesting and how to convey the best parts of your personality while also downplaying the worst parts of your personality, right? If you learn all these little micro skills that fall under the umbrella of dating, well, then you can have a girlfriend. Even when you're in a terrible position in life, when you're living in your mother's basement and you're an aspiring musician and you just want to play guitar all day, right? That individual, he can get a girlfriend because he has a certain set of social skills. And in my experience, there is nothing like dating, which improves your social skills. It's outnumbered. Like nothing stacks up to it. Okay. Now, if you want to land your first date in the next 30 days, click the link in the description below. The link is going to take you to an online community filled with other single men who are focused on improving their dating skills. It's completely free. You can swap notes, get feedback, maybe even find a wingman in your area. And inside, you're going to find a 30-day challenge, which goes over all the steps you need to take to land your first date. All right, guys. So yes, making more money is going to help you get a girlfriend, but your value does not come from your money. If you make the amount of money that you have, like the central core of like what you have to offer, well, then you're going to end up being the kind of man who gets cheated on, right? You're going to be what the red pill community calls beta bucks, right? Beta bucks as compared to alpha fucks, right? The woman will choose the beta with the money to support her, while she chooses the alpha, the more masculine man, to have sex with and keep her excited and enthralled, right? Having money doesn't hurt, right? It's never a bad thing. But if money is the core of what you have to offer, well, then you are just going to be seen as a wallet, okay? You don't want to be paying her rent if she's not really doing anything to make your life better, okay? Now, if you have the muscles are going to be much more in line with like those alpha traits. And I do the quotations because alpha and beta are really like, in my mind, they are rudimentary terms. They signify that there's pretty much two different traits. There's two different like currencies that people are looking for in their relationship. They're looking for sexual desirability, right? So a lot of sexual energy, or they're looking for comfort, right? So I know you're not going to leave me. It's going to be comfort. And the sexual energy is going to be, you make me horny, right? You make me want to have sex, right? When you build comfort, you at the same time you're destroying your sexual energy, like your sexual desirability. When you build sexual desirability, you're also destroying comfort. So these things kind of exist in a dichotomy, and your job is to manage these things, right? You want to be able to be alpha while also being a little bit beta. And there's not a lot of people who will tell you that, but if you want a successful long-term relationship, right, where you're respected and you're loved and you have somebody who's supporting you, you need to be able to play both sides, okay? But getting back on track, the like building the muscles and looking more attractive, that is absolutely going to increase your sexual desirability. That's going to be more alpha, okay? And you're going to find when you get bigger, women like having sex. More women than you thought. More times, like more frequently than you could imagine. Women enjoy having sex if you turn them on. And having big muscles is going to turn them on. Having money isn't necessarily going to turn them on. It's going to make you a more viable partner, and it's going to open the door in a lot of ways, right? It's going to actually signal that, yes, I have a little bit of status. Yes, I can land this job. Yes, I have the ability to support you. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm like, head over heels just looking forward to paying your rent, but I have the ability if necessary. And that's going to make you a better partner in her eyes as compared to the man who can't do that, okay? But yes, having bigger muscles, going to the gym, actually looking attractive, there's nothing that necessarily can compete besides knowing how to turn her on with your words and your body language, and knowing how to like make a conversation man to woman, right? When you make a conversation man to woman, you're essentially having like a back and forth that would never occur between you and your bro, right? It is by nature a sexually charged conversation, right? And I think a really good way, like a really straight to the point way, that if you want to get a little bit better at dating, you can just do this, but like directing a woman's attention straight to you by like grabbing, just like very gently grabbing her chin and like looking, like having her redirect her attention to your eyes, right? That is, in my mind, one of the most direct man to woman gestures that I've ever done, that I've ever seen. And every single time that I do that, it's like she melts. It's like the sprinklers just come on, the panties start to get soaked, right? And she's just ready. It's go time, right? But little things like that. And again, there's 1,000 different ways that you can do that. a good like staple for how to make a conversation man to woman. Just really move the topic over to like drugs, sex, rock and roll. Anything that's a little bit naughty, that's a little bit devious. All of those things are going to be a bit more man to woman than just like platonic. How's your day? Oh, the weather is nice, right? Knowing how to actually add some sexual charge to the relationship, to the conversation, is going to be more impactful than having big muscles. Now, having big muscles, while you also can make a conversation sexual and you can just turn her on with your eye contact, with your body language, with your verbiage, all of those things, even better. And then all of those things put together, and also having enough money to support her, or, you know, take trips to Hawaii whenever you feel like, right? Even better. Okay. But if you take nothing away from this video, I want you to understand that dating is going to be the best thing for you. Actually going outside of your comfort zone, getting those reps, right? Repetition. You need volume, like you're a scientist collecting data, right? The more data you collect, the more accurate your worldview is going to be. The more you realize that I should say this line at this time and I shouldn't say this line when she does this, right? You need more volume, okay? And then the second thing is going to be, money is not where your value comes from. Because if you make your value your money, your income, how much money you have, well, then you're only going to be seen for those things. And that's not going to be very satisfying, right? You don't want somebody to be around because you're rich, okay? So downplay the amount, don't necessarily downplay the amount of money that you have, but don't upplay it, okay? Just state it as it is. This is my money when it is appropriate. When it comes to that part of the conversation, this is what my finances look like, right? And you won't even have to do that if you're dressed nicely, if you have a nice car, if you have these very high quality pictures in all these exotic locations. It's implied that you have money, and that's like really the best way that you want to do it. You want to imply that you have money until it's absolutely necessary to just lay out the books and let her know this is what it is, right? You're going to move in, so you need to know this is my financial situation. This is what it's looking like, okay? But that's all that I have for you guys. My name is Malcolm Tibbs. Hopefully you got something good out of this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Really do. The comments help the algorithm a lot. So if you could leave a comment, maybe say the best thing that you got out of this video, or ask me a question, right? It really does help. And then also, check the description down below if you want to learn how to land your first date in the next 30 days. That's all I have for you guys.